Well, if you have ideas, I'm excited. Well, then you know what we'll do. Let's do this.
This is True OF Entertainment.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Road Woods who feels the need to call himself Rob Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
I still feel like a beatnik every time I hear that music. So, how you doing?
Hello, Stephen.
Hello. How you doing?
How goes life in? Well, it hasn't changed yet, has it?
No, December. January 20th is when the inauguration is, and the Orange Man comes in.
We still haven't. I don't know. No one's given me a definitive answer as to what the delay is for. Why?
I think it's because
when the election you're in, surely.
Yeah.
I mean, Rishi Sunak promised in the UK lost the election, and that afternoon they were hauling his stuff out of 10 Downing Street. There we go.
Yeah. Well, the reason you can't leave the day you lose the election is you have to pardon your son here. So once you're done pardoning your son, then you are allowed. You're allowed to leave.
Hello.
There you go. Listen, this is after he said a month ago, I'm not going to pardon my son. What he did was wrong. He needs to be punished. And then the minute he's like Uncle Joe didn't know what he was doing, he's like, I'm going to now pardon my son. So I'm like, all right, well, there you go. So it's good. It's good to be the senile king. It's the madness of King George.
I got an AC malfunction here. I can't have an AC malfunction here because we are pushing 40 degrees here, right?
So for the people elsewhere on the planet, that's Celsius. So that would be 110 Fahrenheit for you people that don't know how to do math.
I still am fascinated as to why what is essentially the tech superpower insists on staying with Fahrenheit. I've never understood that. I do not follow why. What is the fascination with Fahrenheit?
Here's why. We're America, and we're better than everybody else. And we just figure you have to come on to our whatever we do, and which is evident because the Orange Man told bricks to go pound salt. And he says he's going to make life tough for the bricks. And I was like, go, boy. Okay, some of the stuff he's doing, I'm liking. I'm getting excited about the Orange Man. I'm not the dictatorship part, but the rest of it so far is pretty good.
How did we get from Fahrenheit to bricks?
Because we're America and we're great.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's the same way. How did we get from why does it take 2 months to hand over power to how Biden pardoned his son? I mean, it's the same thing. So,
well, I will say, as an outsider,
yes, you are.
You got the one guy who's been convicted of, I don't know, countless felonies.
34.
So not exactly someone to be throwing stones, number one.
Right.
You've got all his sidekicks that have done prison time, except him. You've got what's Garland? What's Merrick? Is it Garland? Merrick Garland?
Merrick Garland, yeah, Merrick Garland, yeah.
Okay. Who took forever to get all that going. Am I right? I don't know. It seemed to take forever. How long has that been going on for? Pretty much since Biden started. The second years to get this all sorted. Well, in fact, it was. It was January the 6th, 2021. Yeah.
Yeah. 4 years.
And that, I mean, I'm not passing judgment, but 4 years. Get it done. Get it done. Guilty or innocent, get it done. But they dragged it so long that they never really did they ever resolve any of that for him?
No. Here's the problem.
And it's extraordinary.
The Democrats are pussies. Full stop. No, there's no other explanation. They are just pussies. They are weak. They have no balls. I give the Republican Party credit because the Republican Party has my mentality. You kick in the door, you go forward.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they did. Now,
I do.
what's going to happen in 2008? We don't know. We'll see. But for the next 4 years, you're going to have an authoritarian president. You're going to have an authoritarian executive branch, and it's going to be
Come
very
on,
interesting to
Stephen.
see.
Stephen,
Yeah.
shit's gonna get done, my friend. Shit's gonna get done.
I'm
Right?
hoping. Here's what I'm hoping.
So no.
I'm glad they can get stuff done, or I'm hoping they get stuff done. What I'm also hoping for is
Well,
that they take into account all Americans, not just the wealthy. Like, with Musk and his cuts, Musk goes, I'm going to cut Social Security,
okay.
I'm going to cut Medicare, I'm going to do. So that's what I have a problem with. Because,
Okay.
when
Okay.
Civil War happens.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Not an expert, but I don't think that's going to happen, Stephen.
I don't know.
It's going to happen. When has it ever happened? It's not going to happen. Come on.
You know why? Because they didn't have a Schedule F, which I think now says that the president can just fire employees willy-nilly without a problem. In fact, here's what was in the Financial Times this morning, which I thought was very interesting. A new anti-woke ETF makes Starbucks its first target. So they had this big party at Mar-a-Lago. It was very nice. I wore a tux. Anyway, they have an anti-woke fund. So they want to get rid of all these companies now that are woke, and they want to get rid of people that are into ESG. And I have to tell you something.
What's ESG?
That's the environmental governance bullshit that they put in like 5 or 10 years ago. That means absolutely nothing because nobody follows it. So they want to get rid of ESG and wokeness. And I have to tell you, I'm okay with that. This wokeness stuff is bullshit. Enough is enough. Once again, I give credit. Johnny's a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker. I give credit to him for the fact he says what's on his mind. He doesn't care who he offends. I do the same thing. I'm okay with all that. It's just, and if they want to cut government, I'm okay with that. You just have to make sure that it trickles not only up, but trickles down, and it helps the country as a whole.
Okay, Stephen. Okay, first of all, I'm not going to go rant with this, rant with this, because I don't think I'm suitably qualified, and even if I was,
neither are the people that are running the country, so you're fine.
And no one would want to hear it from me anyway. I wouldn't want to hear it from me. But I will say what I'm very happy about. I'm very happy is I'm glad he's in.
Yes.
From my perspective, because if speaking of woke, I would not have been allowed to touch. Hang on, that's the wrong word.
You can't touch that.
Emulate, do an impression of Kamala Harris. So I'm happy. Trump, it's very game, no problem. So that's okay. So that gives me. I'm very happy. He's a hell of an entertaining guy. If you look through every newscast, he's pretty much on every block. No one is any. I will say what you like about the guy. Nobody is in any doubt as to who he is. He is who he is, and he is there. I mean, there must be millions. I mean, there's literally millions of theories. Everyone's like, this happened. Look, people just wanted somebody. They wanted him. They wanted something decisive, and that's what they want. What I'm saying is, it's not about agreeing with things. It's not about agreeing with things. Everyone's got this thing. Oh, we must all agree. Kumbaya. Bullshit.
All right. Yeah.
They looked at their personal situation. They said, "What do I need? What's important to me? I don't have to like the guy. Is it?" The other one is on some, I don't know, some little fancy. What did you call it? Woke thing. And the guy, that's not me. I don't care. I mean, I don't. People, you know what? People say all sorts of things, but in their hearts, they don't have time to care about all these things. They say, what do I need for my family? What do I need for my daughter who's starting high school? I wanted to get a college degree. I don't want to pay for it. She's going to get a scholarship. I don't want all these men hanging around in there. You know, whatever. This is, people just vote according to what they need and what they want. And I have to say, he's the package. He's entertaining. I don't have to agree with the guy. In fact, I don't think there's a single politician I actually agree with, even if I vote for them. I don't agree with them. There isn't somebody who's got all my interests in a list. But you're right. I think you had one person who was, I don't know why we're talking about it. I don't want to talk about this. We had one person who who seemed like they were listening, and the other one who seemed like they wanted to tell you what you should hear. Simple. That's it.
There you go.
And that really is it. And it's not point getting emotional about it or throwing. Just if you want someone else in the White House or wherever, then do the work. Just figure it out, because he did. He did thousands of rallies. He served fries. He invented a dance. He's entertaining, and he's media friendly.
Yeah.
He is. Sorry.
Listen. Let's one more. We'll just say this about.
I didn't want to talk about this.
I know, but then after this, we'll go on to something else.
Or Biden's pardon. I mean, who gives a shit, right? I mean,
well, it's his son, so it's kind of like, I don't know. That's just it is what it is. It's like, listen, it's you can't. This is once again. It's like, seriously, dude. And here's the problem now with just the whole thing in general. Some of the picks that Trump wants for different positions, some of them have bowed out. Some of them are already finding it's going to be a lot harder than they thought. And that's fine. That's the U.S.
Well, Elon.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting to see what happens. I really hope he gets his head out of his tuchus and he actually does.
Who are we talking about? Donald or Elon?
Donald is Donald. Like I said, my dad knew Donald 100 years ago before anybody knew who Donald was. And Donald hasn't changed from my dad knowing him 100 years ago to today. So Donald has always been Donald. That is it. So Donnie, the orange man, I mean, he got more orange. That's it. Other than that, Donnie's been Donnie. We're all good. Elon now has a problem because Tesla has plants over in China. And of course, we have a problem with China. So I don't know how that's going to play out. And so it's sort of like, Trump didn't give up any of his stuff when he was the president the first time, which you're supposed to. And I don't think he's going to do it the second time. So I'm assuming Elon and the rest of these guys aren't going to. So it's going to be a very interesting 4 years. I'm assuming there's going to be a 4 years of lawsuits back and forth. And I really just want them to run the country. And what people voted for, whether they realize it or not, is they voted for Roosevelt, which was an isolationist. Trump is an isolationist, which is fine. And that's what they voted for.
Yeah.
So now we'll see what happens. And that's simple. It's at the end of the day, that's it. That's all there is to it. And now we just go for the ride. And Saturday Night Live is going to be hysterical. Starting in February. And I'm looking forward to it. So, and you can do impersonations all day long. Can you do Elon?
It's not boring. It's not, I've got to work on my Elon impersonation.
Yeah, you got to listen to your Elon.
Yeah, I've got to do that South African US mix of the accents, really.
There you go. Like Shion Thurn or whatever her name is.
Super. I don't know what, I listen to his accent and it comes and goes. And I go, depending on who he's with. Now, look, I mean, I got to say, the guy has done well. He's done all right. He's done okay. Yeah, good for him. That's fantastic. There are a lot of things that he says, and Donald too, that I, believe it or not, actually agree with. And there are a few that I don't, and that's life. I do think if I was worth $300 billion, me personally, I got to say, I wouldn't feel the need to hang around some guy's resort and hope that he liked me. I would buy myself an archipelago, which is, I mean, that would be it. I would. For me, I mean, this is just me, but for me, the power of money is not money. It offers a separation between me and stupidity, and that's literally the world. And I'm absolutely amazed. The thing that amazes me about him is he hangs around Trump, which is fine. It's almost like the man doesn't need friends, but maybe he does. I don't know. I mean, does he not have a circle of friends? Does he not have people he hangs out with? Because it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it.
He doesn't have any friends. He calls me all the time, and I tell him to stop.
Does he? Yeah. He emails me, and he sent me very strange pictures, but I don't want to talk about it now. But I tell you what's amazing about him is he's done very well, and he's financially on financial metrics he's God, but on an emotional level he's nowhere. No, it's extraordinary to me. I know people that, well, maybe you do, that have got a millionth of his wealth, and that makes them very wealthy people, and they I don't want to. I'm private jet
Mhm.
out away from things. I understand why billionaires and millionaires are reclusive. I mean, that seems like a good idea. It's not the money; it's the ability not to have to deal with bullshit. And there he goes, throwing himself in a quagmire of bullshit. And I go, Elon, you don't have to do this, mate. You don't.
I think
You don't have
he
to do this.
wants he wants
What do you want?
he wants to be
Why are
liked.
you there?
He
Yeah,
wants
I
to be
don't know.
liked. He just
Yes,
wants
I
to be
wasn't going to
liked.
talk about this. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. He wants to be liked. He wants a hug. And nobody's giving it to him. So he figures he'll suck up to the orange guy. He'll get his hug. And hopefully at the end of the 4 years, he made things better. If he made it worse, everybody and their grandmother is going to sue him. And then he's going to spend his wealth for the rest of his life defending himself. I mean, it's kind of like,
You know,
I don't know.
but he looks like, you know what he looks like to me? He's a what is he? 300 billionaire, $300 billion, whatever that is. Whatever the word for that is. He's that number one on the number richest guy on the planet.
Right.
And he comes across as the guy who's, I don't know, he's like a first year and he's waiting to be initiated. It's extraordinary. And he's looking for the big boss of the frat house or whatever. And
Adulation.
Yeah. It's crazy. He doesn't have to. He could buy the frat house. He could buy the goddamn country. Well, a big chunk of it anyway. I mean, he could buy this one. I mean, here's the thing. What his personal wealth is very similar to the GDP of South Africa. I mean, he could buy the country. He could buy his homeland.
He could. And the nice thing is then he could leave here. But
Yeah,
anyway.
Sorry. Oh, God, no, please. No. Stephen, you made him. You can keep him. You broke him. You pay for him. You keep him.
Great.
Fine. It's okay. Shit, I opened the door.
Don't open the door. I'm going to call him later and go, Elon, for 230 billion, you could buy South Africa. The other funny thing about this week is the judge in Delaware said to Elon, no, you can't get a $56 billion pay package because that's not fiduciary. So Elon now said, great, I'm going to take it to the Delaware Supreme Court because I want my $56 billion. And I'm like, listen, you spoiled little fucking child. Stop. Unless you're going to take the $56 billion and give $1 million till you're 50 to everybody in America till your $56 billion pay package runs out. Sure. If not, stop with this ridiculous bullshit. Were you just trying to show that how small your dick is? Enough's enough. It's like enough. Well, we saw the pictures. He sent them to you. But I'm just saying enough's enough. Let's just stop being a douchebag. Even Warren Buffett, who's, kind of a douchebag, is not a douchebag like this guy. You know what I'm saying? Warren's like, he keeps to himself. He's very quiet. He's got his whatever he's got going on and doesn't say a word, does his thing. Same with Bill Gates. Does his thing. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. Blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares about the Epstein thing, whatever it could be. Yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, but this one guy, every time he stubs his toe, he has to tweet it and twat it and this it and that. Nobody gives a shit at all. And the people that do, I don't do it. Me, I just do it for the entertainment value on the show. Because, we have to keep the public's interest. Other than that, I could give two rats ass. If I didn't have this show with you, Elon Musk would never come up in my daily thought process ever.
Can I say, I've got an Elon joke. Joke.
This will be good.
Okay.
This is a short.
All right. So I told this today. Let me give you the full context.
Sure.
So they did a recent survey, and we have got major educational issues in this country.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Look who's running it. And anyway, so they selected 59 countries. I think we were this might have been the only African country. So this is European countries, obviously the US, Australia, a couple of countries in South America. It was 59 countries they chose.
Right.
And of those 59 countries, they were looking at kids in grade 5.
Okay.
And they were assessing their mathematical and scientific prowess.
Okay.
And grade 5.
Okay.
And this country, out of 59 countries, came
60th.
Yeah, 59. Yes.
Okay, close enough.
Yeah. 59th.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I said, I think they're being very judgmental. I said, this just gives kids a bad name. Hang on. You know who gives kids a bad name? Elon Musk. Whatever
That's
that
true.
name was.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
and Kanye West too gives kids a bad name apparently too. Hey, I got one for
I
you.
don't know. You can keep
I
him,
got one.
please.
I got no. That's great. I got one for you. My friend was saying he was talking to his wife the other day, and they haven't had sex in a while. And he said to her, he said, "Honey, the kids are asleep. It's in the afternoon." He says, "We should have sex." She goes, "I can't. I have to go to the gynecologist later. I want to be fresh." And he said, "Really?" He says, "When do you go to the dentist?" So I just thought that was,
Fine.
Okay.
One more.
Yeah, they want
Husband
to
and
know.
wife. Husband and wife are sitting on the patio
Sure.
drinking wine.
Yeah.
And his wife she says, "I love you." And the husband says, "Is that the wine or you talking?" And she says, "It's me talking to the wine."
I love it. That's great.
One more.
Nice.
Sorry, one more.
Yeah. These are all one-liners.
We've got now this is a bit more longer. So apparently, this came up in our newscast today. Apparently, SAA, pilots are going on strike. And I said, well, that's a surprise to me because I didn't honestly know that SAA was still going. But be that as it may, that means it's time for a stupid pilot joke. So let me tell you my pilot joke.
Sure.
So all the passengers are getting ready to take off. They're getting ready. They're boarding, and they're seated, and the pilot gets on the plane. Okay, this is bullshit because a pilot doesn't walk down the middle of the plane, but anyway, he does.
Enough.
So there he goes, and he's got one of those sticks that blind people use, and he taps his way down the aisle. Excuse me, and he makes his way into the cockpit. Right. And of course, the passengers are losing their shit. And the flight attendant stands up and says, "Look, ladies and gentlemen, I know what you're thinking. Yes, he is legally blind. Yes, he is the pilot. But don't worry, it's all computers, and he's got 5,000 flights to his name. Perfect safety record. You're in good hands. Don't worry, we'll serve drinks." Okay. Sure. A few minutes later, the co-pilot comes in. Same thing. Tap, 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 walks to the cockpit. And now the passengers are really losing their shit. And the flight attendant, "Yes, I know. I saw it too. It's fine. It's fine." Right. He's got, I think, 3,500 flights to his name. Perfect safety record. Like I said, computers, AI, we're good. Don't worry about it. We're fine. Right. We're going to take off soon. Anyway, a few minutes later, the plane starts taxiing out and gets ready for the takeoff, picks up speed, and gets faster and faster and faster. And pretty soon they're approaching the end of the runway, and the plane is still firmly on the ground. Right. And they all start screaming, "Oh my God, we're going to die, we're going to die, we're going to die." And at that moment, the plane slowly makes its way up and gets into the sky. Okay. And in the cockpit, the pilot turns to the co-pilot and he says, "One day they're not going to scream, and then we're going to be screwed." Anyway, I had to share that with you. What I wanted to talk about today, there was another one which is a bit heavy, and we don't have time for it. It's about our future being defined by our past. Okay, let me quickly jump into this quickly. The reason why I bring that up is, and I'm going to talk about here as well, there's a lot of debate in this country about why is there no economic growth, why is inflation so high, why is unemployment. Actually, inflation is quite low right now because they are screwing the country with high interest rates. Because apparently that's the only way they know how to run an economy, is literally interest rate to death. There's a little more to it than that, but so be it. So we have incredibly high interest rates, which probably means currency won't go through the floor, but it is killing the consumer market completely. The problem is they think that by keeping the interest rates high, it's going to keep inflation down. Right. In a normal economy, maybe. But this one has got the most massive civil service you have ever seen. So most of the economic activity is coming from the government. Right. So you can put the interest rates at 100% where anybody cares. It's not going to change inflation. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to say. So we've got some interesting people directing the economy. It's kind of like that pilot that I mentioned a moment ago, except there's nobody screaming. So he's just nose-diving that shit into the tarmac. Yeah. So the reason I bring it up is because it's very frustrating, I think, for normal people, because you look at this and you go, we know why there's no economic growth. We know that we know why there are no jobs, because the people that create jobs are leaving or not interested in investing in an economy which is so politically based in bullshit. And it gets me to my point, and I've gotten to the point where I'm so tired I'm sick and tired of apologizing for the past. We've had this conversation, but that literally is the reason why we have our economy is deeply rooted in racial laws, which is what I thought we got rid of in 1994. But we've replaced them with, well, what do you call in the States? You've got affirmative action. All right.
I think so. I don't know if we have that anymore. I think we have.
Well, okay, good. Well, here, I understood it for the first 10, 15 years. I got it. I understand. But you needed to be doing the work and training people, not just putting people in jobs because of what they look like. That is exactly what we fought against.
Right.
That is what we fought against.
Sure.
And we now have an economy based on those racial principles, which, from a political point of view, devil's advocate, I understand. But economics doesn't understand that. It's not dictated to. Economics couldn't care what you look like. Doesn't care. Not interested. So all the people that could possibly grow the economy are being chased out of it or removed, and everyone is standing around going, "What's going on?" And we all know what's going on. The brains and the people you need to invest are certainly from outside. So if you wanted to invest in this country, you would have to give away half your company.
Yeah, I know. We tried that. We told you
51%, Stephen. So you would have to give away 51% to previously disadvantaged people who may or may not know anything about your business. And why would any foreign investment company or investor do that? There's just no ways. And they are stuck in that. And it brings me to my point. We cannot let our future be defined by our past. You can't do that. You can learn from historical lessons. That's a different conversation. But if you're going to keep hanging on to the past, imagine if I know we joke about it, but imagine if look what happened to the Jewish people. If they were stuck on that page, we'd still be in 1945, and who knows? The Japanese are the same. There's so many people around the world who've been oppressed, put down, and said, okay, we got to move forward, as tough as that is. And this continent and this country doesn't seem able to do that, and nobody wants to bring it up because they'll get accused of being bigoted or something. And no one's saying that. No one is. You literally don't want to judge people on the way they look. It's what they can deliver. And we are so firmly stuck in our past, and it is such a mystery why we can't get into the future. What a mystery. We're not going to go there because no one, I can speak for myself, I wouldn't invest a cent. I wouldn't, if anybody came to me as an investor and said, would you invest in South Africa? I would say no, absolutely not. There is no ways, because you'd have to give away half your company. In fact, you'd have to give a controlling interest in your company away to someone else who would possibly do whatever they want with your company, but we'll take your money. Are you kidding me? Now they are looking at a situation where they're saying, oh no, wait a minute. We want the foreign investors, we want them in here. So we will make allowances. We will, they call it black economic empowerment. We will sidestep those rules for foreign investors. And you go, okay, so if you're in the country, if you were born here and raised here, and certainly if you're sub 30, you would have had nothing to do with anything, you are prejudiced just because you live here. So what you need to do is you need to go outside the country, get foreign citizenship, and invest back in the country as a foreigner. That's essentially what they're saying. And I understand all the emotional and political things, but my point, what I want to say to people is money doesn't care about that. You got to get off this bullshit. It's so frustrating, and no one wants to say it because it gets all political. It gets all about color, and it's not about color. Yes, it's about color. It's about green money. That's the color. And you know what? It's not going to change. And this whole continent is just rooted. It's sitting in the past. And people say, oh, well, you don't understand. Of course I don't understand. You know what? I don't care either. It's nothing to do with me. I didn't have anything to do with what happened. Neither did you. You weren't oppressed. This was all in the past. If we build, the only way we can do something is we work together and we say, we look different. but let's talk about our abilities. But no one wants to do that. It's all about redressing the past. And then you have this nonsense now where people are paying reparations for shit that happened 300 years ago. You know what? That shit's getting old, and people are getting tired of that. They're saying, for the love of God, that was bad. We recognize that. But can we just talk about now? No, we got to talk about the past. Who's going to pay for it? Where's the money coming from? Who's going to lose and who's going to win? It just goes on and on and on and on. And we can't seem to escape our past. As tempting and as lovely as it is. I mean, I have to say, sometimes I don't want to do things and I feel tired and I go, well, I failed there. That didn't work. Therefore, I'm just going to give up. Okay, then give up. It was so you were so unfairly treated. You shouldn't bother. Fine, give up, whatever. But nothing will happen then. And until people drop this shit, it won't change. That's all I'm going to say. You can't let your past dictate your future like that. You can't do it. You just can't do it. And everyone's sitting around the table going, I wonder what's wrong. I wonder what's wrong. There's an elephant in the room and it's looking at you like you're an idiot going, there you are. There you are. And if you don't acknowledge the elephant in the room, nothing's going to change. Yeah. And I don't care a shit whether people like that or not. That is the truth. It's like saying, well, I'm not happy the sky is blue. Well, it is blue. So there it is. The sun is a big orange thing, like the guy in the White House. Just kidding. And there it sits. You don't have to like it. It is just what is. There are good people. There are bad people. There are fast people. There are slow people.
Smart people.
Whatever.
Sure.
Stupid people, bright people. I don't mind stupid people. I know you don't like short people. I don't mind. I don't mind. You know what? I don't care. I don't judge anybody. I don't. But if you pretend like you're not that or something. I mean, people say, I don't see color. Why?
Right.
Black, white, it's fine. It's not a swear word, is it? Yeah. It's not a swear word.
Apparently.
If my friend Edward, a Ugandan fella I know, if he was sitting next to me, he's a black gentleman. He pretty much is. He's certainly not one. What? Where's the insult? I'm not insulting him. That's what he is. And he will tell you that's what he is. Oh, we can't say that. Why can't you say that? I'm not saying he's anything else but that.
Right.
And I'm definitely not a black guy. There you go. That's what it is. It is what it is. But if it goes further than that, like we did in the past, that's another conversation. When you start putting people in academic boxes and ability boxes because of what they look like, that's a whole no, we don't want to do that. We want to throw all the little colors all onto the field and then they just scatter and play the way they may. Some will do well, some won't. Some will succeed, some won't. Can't we just let that happen? Why do we have to allow for things and move things around? Because of what happened in the past. Well, you can say that you weren't oppressed. True. And I just did.
It was the people that were saying it, actually. They weren't oppressed either. They
I know.
weren't. They're not 300 years old. So
you've got a guy called Charlemagne, whatever. Very intelligent bloke. I kind of like him. But occasionally he'll say things and I go, you don't look like you're suffering too much. I'm just saying, just putting it out there. Why don't you reach out and help all these people that you think need to be helped?
Reach out and touch somebody.
By the way, Elon. Hi, Elon. You know the country you're from if you're listening. I know you're watching this. Stephen, I know he's watching this. I know
he watches every week.
We love you, man. We love you, Elon. We'll give you a hug, yeah?
From behind.
That's enough to get him on? Yeah. I'm not going to give you a hug, Elon. We will hug you. We'll hug you
from behind down in Key West.
Come back. Come back here and do some good. Come and give us some batteries because the place needs power. I don't know, Stephen. My feeling is if you either do something or you shut the fuck up. Really.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. You know, like a few years ago when we first met, we were trying to do buy one of your rugby teams. And I remember our biggest question was like, and there was a whole big sports thing we were doing. And we argued about the percentage and we understood why, but we had things in the contract. And we said to the government, so when we want to take out money, how does that work? And they looked at us like, oh, you want to take it out? I'm like, well, we're not leaving it there forever and ever and ever. And they were like, well, I was like, no, I don't think this is going to happen. I mean, like, it was a very attractive thing, but it was sort of like, no, we're good. I mean, like, it just didn't make any sense. It's like, we're going to put all this money in and we may or may not ever get it out.
Well, no one's going to do that. No, exactly.
Yeah, so it didn't make sense.
And not much has changed. I will say that not much has changed.
Yeah.
And when you see the levels of thievery that have gone on, that are being exposed. Having said that, I had a conversation with someone today, and I said, "Look, what I will defend the modern day. I will defend the modern day South African political climate. In that we know about this corruption now. There may well have been corruption before. We have no idea about. So props. Yes, it's all coming out in the wash now, and that's good. But it doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean it's something we should admire. We need to get rid of it. And the problem with this country in particular is it had this reprehensible system which nobody, certainly in my lifetime, has ever thought, yeah, apartheid. Okay.
All right.
So no one agrees with that. No one. There's no sympathy for that. No one is even saying that. But it's all gone now. It's all history, and we just want to be fucking people. And that's all it should count. And you can't keep expecting the world to feel sorry for you, because the rest of the world doesn't give a shit. And if you want the rest of the world to invest, and they come through your front door and they go, "Oh, you got a beautiful country." This is a beautiful country. That is true. So you get them here, they come to the front door and you say, "Invest. By the way, you can't take your money out. Fuck you, I'm leaving." Why? But what about our history, and what about helping us? Don't care. I'm going to go to Singapore. I don't have to deal with that shit there. They just seem, it's like with this handicap case that everybody must feel sorry for. And they still haven't caught on to the idea that once all those political shenanigans were moved out the way and we had our first democratic election, I can't argue with the electoral process. It's been pretty good. That's the end of it. The caseworker goes home. The social worker leaves. They don't stay. They're done. You are now, you're ready to go, carve your own future. The world said, right, we had all the anti-apartheid activists all in the 70s and 80s, good. The concerts at Wembley Stadium, good. Free Mandela, good. Blah, 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 blah. Anti-apartheid activists, yes, I had bullets fired in my forehead on the steps of Wits University here in Joburg. Sure, blah, 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 blah. 94, boom, we got it done. The caseworker leaves. The world leaves and says, we got other shit to deal with. There's other places we're going to go. So the protesters leave. The emphasis leaves. You're now one of the club. You've got to make your own life. But hang on, you've still got to feel sorry for us. No, we don't. You're good. You now fix your problem. We're not running your country. We have assisted in getting you to have the rights that you should have. That's all we can do. We don't run your country. If you want us to run your country, then you become the 51st state. Okay, we're not going to do that.
That's
so you
Canada,
go.
By the way.
Right. It's the 52nd state. Sorry. No. England's the 51st state. Canada's actually the 52nd. This would be the 53rd. I don't know. What about Australia? No, I'm just kidding. But this is what they haven't cottoned on to. They go to these international things like they're this handicapped kid that everyone must feel sorry for. And those days are gone. You know, they see a president or a leader in front of them that was democratically elected, and they go, "You're in charge. What are you moaning about?
Well,
you, Mr. Ramaphosa, are a billionaire. What do you mean? You're fine. You got your slice of bread. Why aren't you handing that out to the people that deserve it? Okay, but then don't moan. Don't come to us. You sort your shit out. And by the way, if we're going to put money into your country, we'd like to get some of it out, please. You can't keep our money. That's not how money works. That's not how investment works."
That's what we kept saying. So there's a possibility we can't pull our money out. It was a great trade deal because it had racing, and it had the rugby club, and it had MMA, and it was beautiful. Like it would, and we were just like, but if we can't get our money out, and then one of my questions was, who wants to live in South Africa full 6 months out of the year? And everyone was like, yeah, no, we're good. And I was like, all right, man, we'll just do something else. And it was really sad. And it was very we had everybody lined up, and we had one of your famous footballers there helping us. And it was like, but
you mentioned him before. Yeah.
So it was like, it is what it is, kids. And it's one of those things. But I will say, the problem with people going, now I understand. So the American Indians, right? When we gave them the casino, their land, they built casinos. They've really taken it to a level. They don't feel oppressed anymore. They're like, "Oh, we got money." But what we did for them, I thought was correct, because basically we steal your land, we kill you, we steal your land, we kill you, we give you blankets full of smallpox, and we kill you. So we made it better for you. Like, here you go, and now everybody just gives them their money. It's good. It's a clean wash around. But they don't sit there saying how repressed they are. It's sort of like Cumberbatch or whatever his name is says he's going to pay for what his ancestors did in 1630 in Bermuda against whatever. And I'm like, I wouldn't pay jack shit for my ancestors. I wasn't my ancestors. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not happening. So to your point, this woe is me crap, which I feel a lot to do with the woke people. Enough's enough. You've got to make your own way. You've got to fight for yourself. You've got to do this. If anybody in this last 100 years should be whining and complaining, it would be the Jews, because we got killed by the Germans, 6 or 7 million of us.
Almost wiped out.
Yeah, we should be whining. Right, we should be whining and complaining, going, "Hey, fucking Germany, where's my where's my money? Where's it?" But no, we're like, screw you. We'll go do this. Then the next group would be the Japanese that got in internment camps here in America. But if you really are going to look at like who is the worst, the Jews in the last 100 years would be the ones that'd be like, "You killed my ancestors. What am I getting?" And we don't do that. We're like, you know what? Screw you. We're just going to own everything and fuck with you another way. That's what we do. We have those lasers. Yeah, we got space lasers. I know, and we have no short people, which is why we're ahead of the curve.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on that one. There's some podgy little friends of mine that. But you're right, exactly.
We'll need just names.
Huh? We need names. I'm not having names.
No, but we did. We said, screw you. We'll get on with it, and we'll own everything, and we did. And it was that simple.
You know what's crazy about that? You say reparations. They are still. I mean, you know this, but this is for people who don't. They are still having auctions and things where they're finding paintings that were stolen. It's still happening. So the stuff. Never mind the theory. They physically was stolen from. Then their fortunes and everything they had were removed. And to this day in 2024, I would put to you that the majority of Jewish families never got their stuff back. Never.
Yes.
They never got it back.
I'll tell you a story that was on
60 Minutes. They went and made their own stuff.
Yeah. Here's a story on 60 Minutes. I want to say it's Austria or one of the Nazi countries, where the U.S. has an embassy, and the embassy is in a building that was acquired by the Nazis, and then they made it an embassy. Well, the Jewish family that owned it has shown the U.S. government, the courts. This was a 60 Minute story, either in the 80s or early 90s, about like, hey, you're in our family home, and the U.S. government goes, we don't care. So when they go, oh, we're going to go, we are a society of, if it doesn't screw what I'm doing up, sure, we're going to go help you. But if it does screw what we're doing up, we can't really be bothered. So when they did that story, and I don't know whatever happened because there was never really a follow-up, but when they did that story, I'm thinking to myself, we at America, and I know people will go, no, it's not. We are probably the most anti-Semitic country on the planet. Full stop. I mean, I'd be very blunt. We are probably, I don't think Germany, France, I know France, you can't make any Jewish jokes because you go to jail and whatever. But even in the Middle East, I have friends when I go to Dubai, or if I go to Qatar or even Saudi, I'm open arms, and machetes, but it's okay. But just open arms, no problem. In America, it's still very anti-Semitic here. And it's really wild to me that we're supposed to be this progressive country, but there's other places all around the world that, no, you're Jewish, great, come on around, who cares? That's just wild to me.
I will say here, I mean, I moan a lot about this place, but I will say, I've lived in the US, I've obviously lived in the UK, I've dabbled in some European countries, one or two African ones, and obviously here in South Africa. And I will say there are a lot of stones that I can throw, but when it comes to something like that, no one gives a shit. You've got a mosque next to a shul, next to a church. No one gives a shit. It does. They've obviously got other issues to worry about, but the point is, you see the guys with the tendrils walking down the road here. No one gives a shit. I mean, they genuinely. I'm not even made. They don't care. They just there is zero interest in. Okay, really, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no. There are other problems. There are other problems, racial, political, whatever. When it comes to that, no one cares. No one would. It's not even like you have to avoid anything. There just isn't that. That is one thing I have to say I've never encountered. So we've got. I get the flip side, of course, is that it means no matter where you are or who you are, or what you've done, come here. This is a haven for whoever. No one cares, and there are all kinds of shady people living here, and no one cares.
That's right.
Cares. No one.
It's kind of like it's like Dubai or Monte Carlo or all these other places, even Thailand. Nobody cares, but in America, it's which we come across. We're woke. We're not woke. We're full of shit. We're not woke. We're not crap. We are still the most prejudiced and racist country, in my opinion. I could be totally wrong, and I hope I am, but I don't think so, on the planet. So, and we've discussed this before. Coming from New York City, you don't have being born and raised there. You don't have that luxury. You have to get along with everybody. So you right away, it's like boom. But when you meet other people, and I think it's dying down, but not at the rate that we'd like to think so. It's like all this woke stuff is just a bunch of crap. So when I listen to all these people talk about whatever, I'm like, really? You want? I'm waiting. What about my ancestors? You didn't do shit for me. And so it's like, let's stop with this. Enough's enough. If it happened it's 100 years ago already, and like not even for us, but for these other people, it's 2, 3, 4, 500 years. Oh, tear down a statue, throw a pair of balls. That's history. Because the minute you forget your history and your past, then you're going to have it happen again. And people are like, this is horrible. No, it's not. You just didn't want to read a history book, or you don't read. I mean, so it's this whole thing. So there's a lot that goes to this. And it's also the fact that no one teaches the children anymore. iPads don't teach.
I will say, Stephen, the reason why no one has even discussed Jewish reparations is because that would be a big
huge
figure.
Yeah.
Massive.
Huge.
It would be.
But if you're under 5 foot,
together,
I would just do it. If you're under 5 foot, you get nothing. Everybody 5'1" and higher get stuff, and I think that would be good. I'm just trying to help out, so trying to lessen the cause here.
Good Lord!
But yeah,
I have to say this. I have to say that. Speaking of height, I don't know if I told you this. I went to see Jim Jeffries. Did we mention this last time?
You did. You talked about last week, Jim Jeffries and the people behind you.
And that was another story. There's a woman sitting there moaning about, it was so offensive.
I know.
Okay. Like a surgical student seeing blood in an operation.
Right.
But one thing that did strike me is, I mean, I'm a guy of average height. It never comes up in conversation how tall or short I am, because I'm neither. No one cares.
Right.
They do remark how ugly I am, which is fine. But no, this is makeup. And walking around.
That's the best you can do.
I know it's crap. But walking around the refreshment area, like before we went in, I was just standing there with my wife, and I went, "Wow, these South African guys are fucking big."
Yep.
And that's why our rugby players are the way they are. We've got guys like 6'9" and 6'8", and everybody goes,
"That's how they came out of the womb."
No big deal. I went to see Jim Jeffries, and they were just normal blokes. Like, what?
Yep.
Hell no. Crazy. This the biggest. I don't think people realize. I know the Dutch people are tall. Correct. Afrikaans people. What do you think? Where do you think that freaking genetic line comes from? These guys are massive and usually friendly. So good.
There you go. Listen, I get along with everybody, no matter where I am on the planet, regardless of your height, unless you're really small. And no.
But then you don't see them. It's not personal. You just like, okay, there's no one in the room, and you leave. It's not like you're ignoring them. You're not ignoring them. You just don't see them. You're like some guy. You come to the door, and there's a 5-foot guy there, and you just go, "Oh, there's no one yet." And you close the door, and he's thinking, "Oh, he's he's got such hatred for short people. And you're sitting in your study going, why do people knock on the door and run away?
That's right. It's not on the ring. It's not showing.
It's
We have the ring at a certain height. Like if you're, and then literally we have a little line that says, if you're not this tall, don't bother. We won't see you. And people find it offensive. I don't understand why, but it is what it is. Yeah. Well, you have to, unfortunately, you have to go because you're an important celebrity in South Africa.
We're having a Christmas party at the radio station, and I got to do some stuff there. So
wow, and just think, Christmas is only 20 days away. Let's not speed that up.
I know. We should really call it the December. We should call it something else. We should call it the December retail marketing highlight period or something. Something that actually describes what it really is.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is. This is why everybody does it. They go and spend money and they do whatever, and they go, Christmas. No. You need to understand, this is a retail marketing ploy. That's what it is. That's what it is. There's nothing about Christmas that says you have to spend all this money. That doesn't come from a book or something. That comes from retail people.
That comes from the Bible, apparently. It says right when Jesus was born, you must spend. I saw that. I read that in the Gentile stuff. I saw that.
Probably.
Gentiles are spent. The nice thing this year is Hanukkah, the first night of Hanukkah is December 25th. So the Jews and the Gentiles, this will be fun, can celebrate something together. And then we can all go and see two midgets wrestle and microwave them. So I'm very excited. It's going to be great. Looking forward to it. Why? You can't do that. It's illegal, apparently. So one day, Brad Williams, who I love, and I watch his comedy, and we brought his name on the show. He's a little guy, and he makes fun of himself. And I love him to death. His stories are hysterical. One day, I've seen him in concert. I'm hoping next time he comes, I just want to go say hello. I'm never going to tell him we say these jokes, but I'm figuring one day he may actually see this because we mention him so often. And come on the show, and I'll be like, just eviscerate us. I do not care. But his stories and his personality in him, if that's who he is off screen, he's hysterical, funny. And I make fun of the only reason the little short jokes happen is because we have a show called Social Intercourse, and Rachel, one of the hosts, is a little Korean girl. She's all of like 5 foot nothing. You can stuff her in your pocket or in the front of your pants, either way. So I just enjoy busting her chops that she's short because she just goes, that's triggering to me. And I'm like, listen, I'm not the one who has to sit on 2 phone books and have a brick my gas pedal and my brake. So these jokes are really for her. So when she watches it, I know she cringes, and I'm just saying to myself, well done.
But how do you know she's cringing? Sorry.
Because I hear it from her friend who has to show with us as well.
You wouldn't see it, would you?
Drive her nuts. Yeah. So yeah. Well, there's another way I could have taken that, but I've been trying to avoid the lawsuits.
I don't want to be
called into HR.
This is the problem with the world. This kind of jokery or whatever. Fuck, this world is so offended by everything. I'm so sick of it, and I think there is a drive to get rid of it because you're not going to stop people thinking a certain way, and either you, like for you, you're going to look at short people and they're funny, or you're going to look at them and go, oh, they're all full of shit. Now, one of the joys of all my mates who are of a certain stature is, they're all funny, all of them. Every single one.
They're just funny in general, which is good.
They're just funny. But I'm saying it's great. We need that humor. We've got to have that. If you take that away, then who are we going to mock? Who are we going to make fun of? We've got to mock something. Even if it's ourselves.
Listen, if you can't laugh at yourself, you can't laugh at anybody. When I was a kid, we used to tell them today, if we told the jokes we were like 10 or 11, whether you were Jewish, you were black, you were this, you were that, we would tell these horrific jokes. We would think they were hysterical. We'd go home and tell it to our parents, and our parents would look at us just shaking their head and going, like, where do you guys come up with this? But my dad would chuckle. He'd be like, that's a funny joke. I'm like, don't tell your mother. I'm like, okay. But it's just one of those things. But if you can't laugh at yourself, you can't laugh. So the whole idea is for us just to enjoy and laugh. You have to go to a holiday party. So enjoy that. Everybody, thank you for watching. We'll be back next Thursday when Mr. Woods will tell us something that we didn't know we needed to know that we knew. They'll be very excited. Go figure that one out. So there you go. So we'll see everybody next Thursday. Thank you for watching and listening, and we will see you all next week. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening to this Rolled Woods Rob Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. You know, this podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and do take care.